So ultimately, I think there just needs to be like an overhaul of how the women are being booked. If we're now bringing back rankings as well, there needs to be a clear division of, okay, cool, these are the top women, and then these are the women that not necessarily losers, but these are the women that are going to be jobbing, and then there's going to be the mid card of women that up and down, they may win, they may not win. And if Mercedes has the eye for it, then I feel like it will be better for the women. If not, and it becomes a thing where similar to Soraya, where you've just been inserted into the fold of, you're just a woman that's a part of a collective of women that's wrestling, then it's not going to help the women's division whatsoever. I think maybe what Mercedes can do is also been influencing the fact that, Tony, you're not a woman. Kenny, you're not a woman. So you don't really know how to book women that well.
In March, as we're being told, between Fightful and Andrew Zarian from Matmen Podcast, March is as close to a date that we're getting that Mercedes Mone will turn up in AEW. It sounds like it's all kind of done and dusted at this point. Now, we know her very well from her time in WWE, one of the most beloved, female wrestlers in the company. She decided to leave the company a couple of years ago. She went on her merry way, ventured into Japan, done some good stuff in Japan. I feel like New Japan has kind of let her down with the kind of groundwork she started, and kind of just done nothing with the IWGP Women's title since then. And even the New Japan Strong Women's title has not been as prominent as I guess they thought it would be if Mercedes had it. Now she's venturing into AEW, which firstly, I would say the women's division is improving. I feel like with every kind of 2 episodes, it gets better. We have in the past seen, a couple steps forward, a couple steps back sort of thing. But I would say it's generally improving. But I done a video on this a while ago that when Saraya joined, I know Saraya would have thought, I'm going to be the person that can change the fortunes of this place. And very incorrect, whether it's her fault or booking or whatever. Like, it just never works for Saraya. It hasn't worked, let me say, because she's still there. I'm sure Monet is of the thinking of the same. I'm going to be the person that can change the fortunes of this women's division. What do you think Mercedes Mone, obviously we know she'll bring eyes to the product, all that kind of stuff, but what do you think she can really bring to make a change to AEW's women's division, the booking of it all? Like, what is in store? If she's signing a 3-year deal, let's say, there must be something, that she probably thinks she can do in that time to turn their fortune around. Or is this just self-indulgent and I just want to be the top woman here and, she doesn't care about the overall division? What's your thoughts on her signing and what she could bring?
I mean, if she decides to be self-indulgent and just, you know what, let's get this belt on me, it does absolutely nothing for the women's division. You saw it with Saraya. Saraya won the women's title. It done absolutely nothing. It was literally just a bum lick of, we're in London, we're in your home country, let's win the title. I feel like if Mercedes wants this women's division to flourish, it's a matter of making every single woman matter. When I say everyone matter, someone like a Red Velvet shouldn't be a perennial loser. You having good matches shouldn't be enough on AEW TV, especially for the women. People like Red Velvet, we saw it with Sky Blue, we've seen it with tons of other women where literally week in, week out, they're literally just used to have a decent match and drop. That's it. We're seeing that this coming week with Red Velvet when she faces, who's she facing? She's facing Toni Storm.
This week, Toni Storm,
She's facing Toni Storm this week, And I look at stuff like that and I'm like, how do you want me to care about Red Velvet? You're giving her the amount of volume of matches that she has. Because she has a lot of matches. And she has a lot of matches. We're seeing this with Queen Aminata at the moment as well. Having brilliant matches. Granted, she just started having brilliant matches. People are speaking highly of her. But at some point, people are going to look at it like the same way we looked at Takeshita. The same way we looked at Roosh. The same way we looked at Eddie Kingston. Actually, let's forget Eddie Kingston. These two people where oh, they're having brilliant matches, they're winning, they're having great matches, but they can't win. So moving forward, it's like, why do I care about this person? Why should I even care about the match itself? Because I just know this person is just there to lose, and it's just going to progress the story further. So ultimately, I think there just needs to be like an overhaul of how the women are being booked. If we're now bringing back rankings as well, there needs to be a clear division of, okay, cool, these are the top women, and then these are the women that, not necessarily losers, but these are the women that are going to be jobbing, and then there's going to be the mid card of women that up and down, they may win, they may not win. And if Mercedes has the eye for it, then I feel like it will be better for the women. If not, and it becomes a thing where, similar to Saraya, where you've just been inserted into the fold of, you're just a woman that's a part of a collective of women that's wrestling, then it's not going to help the women's division whatsoever. I think maybe what Mercedes can do is also been influenced in the fact that, Tony, you're not a woman. Kenny, you're not a woman. So you don't really know how to book women that well. So maybe even if they hire maybe like a Mickey James as a freelancer, come and help with booking the women. These are women that know how women's wrestling works. We know what works on TV for women, what doesn't work on TV. And then, I don't think it should just collectively just be one person booking the women. And certainly not a man that struggles to even book the men, talk less of the women.
Yeah. I think Kenny, it sounds as if he probably stepped away from booking the women a while ago. Like I said, it feels like sometimes things are getting better, but at the same time, like, okay, at the back end of last year, we looked like we had a real established TBS division. Yeah. The world title was just Tony Storm. It was just Tony Storm. We'll heat someone up for a couple of weeks, feed them to Tony Storm, and then that person's gone. And unfortunately, I see something very similar happen with Deonna Purrazzo right now. They're getting her ready for Tony Storm. And yeah, Tony will probably beat her at Revolution, and then that's it with her. Yeah. The only thing with her that I guess will give her some longevity is, I think, with Serena Deeb returning, obviously the technical stuff between the two of them, that could give her a next program. After that, I don't know. I really don't know for Deonna Purrazzo. Maybe a TBS title run. But I think Mercedes probably has some type of creative influence within her contract, especially if she is signing like a multi-year deal. She should surely have some creative talk within the entire division, not just her stuff, because I don't see the appeal in signing a long-term contract as a woman in AEW. If this was Mercedes Mone and, as a guy in the men's division, sign away, but fair enough. Yeah. And like, as much as I want to see her in AEW, I just think her appearance deal right now is a smart thing to do until we can prove we can actually cultivate an actual division here, sort of thing. So in terms of what she is bringing to AEW, it's eyes 100%. It looks like they're giving her the whole kind of CM Punk debut, maybe in her hometown, and gonna drop a hint that she's coming in. They're gonna give her the red carpet treatment and all of that kind of stuff, which is deserved. Like she's worth it. It's the division now that is like, how are we going to maintain her looking like a star within this division that we barely give 2 matches to on Dynamite? I think I saw someone say the other day, in like every Dynamite there's ever been, there's been only 6 shows that have had 2 women's matches on it,
and the rest have been 1 or 0.
1, 1, and then maybe like a 1 in a segment. I think this past week it was just the 1 match and no like other women's segment or anything on the show. Can I even argue for them and say they're pressed for time? Like, it's 2 hours, but you can get some 2 matches in there at the very least. Like,
bro, there's a lot of AEW tend to have matches where it doesn't necessarily even have to be in the card. It's not like it's progressing stories, because I think the problem is that does AEW, of course, it's sports based, so that's been their shtick. But are you trying to go down the route of where everything has to be story, or is everything an exhibition? I feel like if you're gonna mix and match, it's not working well, because it seems like everything that AEW doing is story based at this point in time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna have more women's matches, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point because really and truly, like I'm even deep in it. Last year, Hikaru Shida was a 2-time champion. She became the first ever three-time women's champion. She won the belt. She won the belt on the 200th episode, I think, or the anniversary episode.
Yeah.
She ended up losing it at, in Wembley, then won it back after. And I'm like, what are we doing? That we've been hot potato in the women's title for like 6-7 months at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. Mercedes, please, if you're coming, bring someone with you to come and save this division because really and truly, I look at women like, okay, granted they've done something good with Julia Hart. Julia Hart,
yeah,
great. Sky Blue, I've never been a fan of, but she's progressing. But someone like a Red Velvet should have been a star. Willow, as popular as Willow is, should have been a star. And you spoke about the TBS division that they were building. They were building the division until they now started to make Willow and Chris Statlander partner up and mess around with Malcolm Bivens. It's not getting anyone anywhere. It's not doing anything for the divisions. And it's like, how do you expect fans to be invested in the women if you can barely put them on TV, put them in programs outside of the world title that actually matter? And like, there's just no force for it. So Mercedes, I hope you're making the right decision if you're coming to this company. Or if you are coming to this company, I hope you're able to at least foster a change in it because everything else seems to be improving. But the women's division just seems to be something that just has its peaks and troughs. And it's becoming a lot where, how many years into the company now? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, this is the 5th year come October or so, yeah. And
this is the only part of the products that hasn't improved. Well, it's improved, but it's the only part of the products that hasn't been consistent. Yeah. Everything else has either been really good or really bad. This one it doesn't know whether it's coming or going. So I want more for the women's division.
100%. Like, I know I do this as a fan, you know, ever since the whole Mercedes to AEW thing. I've been putting it on Mercedes as if Mercedes is flipping Mother Mary that's gonna save you. Yeah, I've been doing it. It's not the correct thing to do. I know that, but like, as the absolute superstar that she is coming in, you just feel there has to be a level of, I'm going to lift this place off the ground, sort of thing. And like I say, this is probably what they thought that Saraya was going to do. And you know, Saraya was just kind of just getting back to wrestling herself after obviously long period out. I really do think that, you know, maybe what you're saying is the correct thing to do. It's not her coming in and having that sole responsibility. She will be the TV person that does that, has to lift it all on TV, but maybe behind the scenes they really do need someone that's gonna lift it. Like, yeah, if you're bringing me in, you're gonna sign this writer, you're gonna sign this person that's gonna head up creative for women's division, and we go from there. Because to bring Mercedes in, and even if I still think it's a problem if every week she's the one match a week that we're getting, or she's the one promo segment a week we're getting. I think that's an issue as well. Like, it's not just feed her everything, you know, put everything on her shoulders, her head, and expect her to carry it. But yeah, it is. You're right in saying that it's just not her alone that's gonna make this change.
Yeah, it's like they say in the Nigerian proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's gonna take a whole lot of things, a whole lot of people, and a whole lot of motivation to build this women's division to what it can actually be, because the talent isn't the problem. Like AEW in terms of talent,
and I don't think it's ever has been.
It's never been the talent. It's never been, like, whether it's the vets that have come in or the indie people that they've signed or the newer people, the talent has never ever been the problem. It just seems to be the amount of time that you give them on TV. It's just not even from a match standpoint. It's just never progressing. Someone like a Toni Storm, I can't lie to you, her character is insane. The fact that it is as popular as it is and it's so fun. For me, something like that is what we need more of in the women's division. Because for me, I look at that transcends whether it's a man or a woman. This is a TV star. This is an absolute TV star. But then everybody else just seems to be wrestlers. And it's like, we need more larger than life characters. Yeah. Maybe not Abaddon. I like Abaddon, but even her, they're not even using. Halloween will come and that's when they decide to use her. We've got a horror film that was that's sponsoring AEW Dynamite today, or Rampage So we bring Abaddon to come on, man.
We know this company too well.
We know the company too well. They think they can trick us. We've seen it. We've seen what they've been doing for the past 4 or 5 years. So the talent has never ever been the issue. It's just that one, they're failing to book proper stories outside of both titles. Two, even when we have both titles, it seems to be like we're not building stars and we're not building enough stars to be able to feel like they can contend for the titles. I keep going back to Red Velvet, but again, Red Velvet is a star. Red Velvet has, like, she's improved so much. From that period where she disappeared and she came back, her first match back, I was thinking, I can't lie to you. They've got something here with Red Velvet. They've got something here with Red Velvet. But then ever since then, it just seems to be, whenever we want someone to just lose a match, we're going to get Red Velvet to come and wrestle. Yeah. And for me, it's like, is Red Velvet not more than that? I genuinely don't understand.
And to think Red Velvet had the same start as Jade Cargill in regards to that tag match. Cody, you know, she was chosen to replace Brandy Rhodes. Like that's almost an anointing in itself that you're going to step in for her and be in this match with Cody and Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill. And she was at the time, if we're honest, the real women's wrestler representative at the time. She's ahead of Jade. Like, she was the one that you kind of trusted with to be in the ring and lead Jade when Jade was in the ring. So it's like, yeah. And granted, she's had her own injuries which have, you know, slowed her down. But like you said, is she not more than just someone that we can roll out to lose when we need someone to go over? It's very bad.
This is someone they should have put the rocket on as soon as she came back. I could see Red Velvet as a TBS champion. Easily. Yeah. This is someone they could have easily pushed. I could see her with facing the likes of a Chris Statlander or Serena Deeb. Even like there's so much to her. There's so much to a lot of the women on the roster. But
I never remember her name. She come from Impact. Period. What's her face again?
Which one?
She's Tasha Steele's partner back in Impact.
Oh, Kira Hogan.
See
what I mean?
He's above so many of these women, not even to the rest of them, but ready to go.
These are people that have come from TV. These people have been doing TV 4 or 5 years prior to coming to AEW, but then they're still coming to AEW to do perennial loser. But then they'll have one match and it's like, oh my God, they just had a banger. This is what we know this wrestler can give us. We know these wrestlers are great. We know that they can put on good matches. We know that they can have good segments, but we want them to be able to do that. One, outside of Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor is the land where everybody dies. And two, we want it to be done outside of the world title and on TV. So the fact that everybody can look at this person and be like, oh, this person's actually great. This person's good, or this story's good. We just need more. And I don't think we're asking for too much. But it just seems to be going through one ear, coming out the other, because there will be a lot of people making excuses saying, oh, at least they still have women wrestling on TV. That should be the bare minimum. That should be the bare minimum. You know what I mean? So
it's Mercedes needs to come and she needs to fight for the opportunity. It's the opportunity that her and these other women need. We need the story around the title, the story around the TBS title, and then we just need stories and character development up and down the card. Like you mentioned, you know, we've got a great Toni Storm. We've even got something in Abaddon, whether you're into that or not. But the rest of these guys are just wrestlers, and there's not much going on behind that. And as we know, being a great wrestler doesn't pay the bills. When you're wrestling on TV, being a great wrestler don't pay the bills. So,
do you know what's great about this? The fact that this is AEW, because again, people clamor, this isn't sports entertainment, this is pro wrestling. But even then, when you're just solely a great wrestler, what has it done for you? What has it done for people in AEW? Because even those who are great wrestlers in AEW, the ones that we're pushing are the ones with great characters. MJF, Moxley, Bryan Danielson. Even Claudio, I'll give him it as well. Claudio, he'd be surprising me sometimes, you know what I mean? But there's like, everywhere has great wrestlers. Everywhere. But if you're just that, I'm so sorry, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So I think even if Mercedes does come, I think she should stay far away from the title as much as she can. Just for now, if we're able to build stories around her at that point. Because knowing Tony, you'll put her on, and then after a few months, she's now going to be the one to chase off the title. And we want her as champion if she decides to do 3 years there. But if we're able to kind of put Mercedes in a position where it will benefit other women on the division as well, and it will bring eyes to them, and Mercedes can have a good match with a broomstick if she wanted.
Yeah,
there's plenty of people that would be able to have great matches with her for the time being until she does eventually come and say, you know what, I want to go for the title now. She should work her way up. I think we need stories outside of the title.
she needs to put her Becky Lynch hat on, because that's what Becky Lynch has been doing over the past 6 months to a year now, and just selfless stuff, and it's been working and showcasing herself very well, showcasing these other women, getting everyone more time in general. Yeah, it's what's needed, man. It's definitely what's needed.